In this episode of Project BFe Max, we're going to be doing the first upgrade to the bike, as a bar and stem have come into stock and I've bought them, so it's time to upgrade. The stem we're going to be using is this Unite Co 35mm Renegade Stem. If you'd like to see a detailed look at this, I'll link above right now. And the bars we will be using are these Nukeproof Horizon V2 bars. Again, I will link a video above right now if you'd like to take a detailed look at these. The setup I initially used were these old Raceface Atlas bars and Thompson 50mm stem. These are pretty old. I think these might be from 2010, both of them, so yeah. They don't really have a place on this bike. They're too old and likely to be too fatigued, especially the bars. These bars have been to Morzine or Port Soleil at least twice, so they have been relatively badly abused during their life, so no trust for long-term durability from me there. So yeah, I'll play this bit and fast forward, there's no point delaying, but yeah, let's remove these old bar and stem. They're too old for this bike. I really want to run a 35mm stem. So the stem I've gone for is this Unite Co Renegade Stem. I've got it in 35mm, not 55. I went for this stem because it was made in UK and it looks really nice. And I've not had any parts from Unite Co before, but I was quite keen to try it out. I was hoping to get one of the Hope stems in this silver colour. I've actually been after a silver stem for some time for this build, but they just didn't seem to ever come in stock. So they've lost business because they don't seem to be manufacturing the part I want, or either that they're in such demand that I sell out immediately. So yeah, I ended up going for this after seeing a chainring on one of my friend's bikes. I was like, oh, what chainring's that? Is that absolute black? He's like, no, it's Unite Co. It's a UK brand, have a look into them. So yeah, that's how I sort of stumbled across them. So yeah, have a look at Unite Co. They look pretty decent. It's a relatively small operation, but yeah, I recommend you should have a look at them if you're looking to have some pimping upgrades. Back to what I'm doing in the video. At this point in the video I was trying to assess how many spacers I would need to get adequate preload on the bike. I think the Unite Co stem's slightly smaller than the Thompson, so I needed to add a bigger spacer on top of the stem. Eventually I'll chop this down. But yeah, I needed to add instead of a 5mm spacer, I needed to go for a 10 just to get preload on the headset. And if you think my headset top cap looks weird, it's a weird one. It's one top cap with an integrated Garmin Wahoo mount built into it, so put a cycling computer there. I actually don't think it's a particularly good design, especially for this bike, because it puts it in a really vulnerable position. So I might look at moving that and getting the Unite Co top cap eventually, because you can get it custom engraved, and I think that would look pretty cool if I got like a Moz on Bikes custom engraved top cap. But yeah, that's a Nukeproof Garmin one. So the Unite Co stem is one of those stems which has zero gap at the top, so you need to do the top two bolts up fully and make sure there's no gap between the main body and the faceplate between the two, and the sort of gap is controlled on the lower two bolts. I think it's quite neat because it makes it look a bit more visually appealing, I reckon. At this stage I'm trying to slide the controls onto the bars. I always leave the bars slightly loose at this point so you can push them left to right if the cables, the way I cut my cables, they always seem to be just about on the limit to do this, so that's just something I do. But yeah, having the bars slightly loose in the stem at this point, you can slide it left or right. One thing I do think is pretty neat about these Nukeproof bars is they have like these degrees of roll printed on the top face of the bars. So if you have a split in your stem across the top surface like I do here, like most normal stems, you can assess the angles really easily. I never quite understood why you'd print this on the front of the bike. There's no references front of the bars. There's no references on the front of the bars and on the front of your stem to see if they slip. So this is actually a much better system. They've printed that on the top, and I really like it because you can just set it to 0, and if your bars twist or roll, you're going to immediately notice that. If they slip 2 degrees forwards or backwards, you're going to it's going to be obvious when you look at your stem. You're like, oh look, they've slipped. But I think this is a much neater system. Obviously, if you got a stem, maybe like the Reinstalling stem, I think that has the split in a different place, it's not going to work very well. But most stems are split in that sort of the vertical plane, aren't they? So yeah, I think it's a neat way to do it. And as you can see, I've set it up initially to run from 0. With the bars in place and loosely pinched up, we can now torque down everything really. So we'll start with the stem bolts. And again, this is one of those stems with 0 gap at the top and the bottom, so tighten down the top so there's 0 gap, and resultant gap is at the bottom is what it is basically. And I've done these up in a crisscross torque pattern because it's the best way to do it really. The torque settings for this Unite Co stem are printed on the inside of the stem where you torque up the handlebars, which is kind of neat because it makes the outside look really slick. And the bolt sizes are all same in all 6 locations, so the faceplate and the pinch bolts for the steerer are the same, so same size. So the torque settings are the same all over, 6 Newton meters off the top of my head. So yeah, it's a really well thought out stem. I really like it so far. Obviously not tested it, it's just been assembled onto the bike. But yeah, everything about it so far is very nice and very well thought through. And the bolts are stainless steel as well, they're black and stainless steel, so yeah, no rust issues as well. So with the upgraded bar and stem installed, the only thing left to do is get all these controls reinstalled. I won't bore you too much, I'll just do a little speedy montage here of getting these set up. I like my brake levers in kind of a neutral position, like up and down, so if you sort of sit on the bike with your arms stretched forwards, I like my finger pointing out, then align that with the brake lever, so it's not, I guess it's 30 degrees ish to the horizon. That's kind of the way I like it, kind of a neutral position. And with everything in place and lined up, we can run the torque wrench over all the components and get it torqued down appropriately. So with everything torqued down, there's only one last thing to do, and that's to put in this little plastic insert into the top cap so you can put the bike computer in place. And that's it really. What do you think? I reckon that was a pretty good looking upgrade with that bright, all burnished, polished aluminium look on the blue frame. But it's got me thinking I might need another shiny silver bit as another upgrade just to match. So look out in the near future for part 14 of the BFe Max project, where something else shiny will turn up very soon. So thank you very much for watching today. I'll see you again in part 14 of the Project BFe Max build. Cheers.